explaining a brief history of Critical Role's Cerberus Assembly and its golden boy, the Martinet Ludinus Da'leth. To start things off, this behind me is the symbol of the Cerberus Assembly, and these 8 peaks that you see are representative of the 8 candles, aka the towers where each member of the assembly resides. Also, the 3-pronged diamond up here is representative of the 3 heads of Cerberus. So what is it? Well, the Cerberus Assembly is a group of very powerful mages that operates within the Dwendalian Empire. But how did this come together? Well, for that we have to go back to the Marrow War, which was a war between the Dwendalian Empire and the Jewless Dominion, which was another country in Wildmount. And as the Dwendalian Empire was trying to expand, they got into conflict, and this was known as the Marrow War. Well, at the end of the Marrow War, the Dwendalian Empire decided to allow the Jewless Dominion to kind of integrate with it rather than wiping it off the face of the earth. Because of this, there were some tensions between the powerful mages of the Dwendalian Empire and the powerful mages of the Jewless Dominion. So even though we were technically at a time of peace, this basically escalated to what is known as the Eve of Crimson Midnight, where they were continually spying on each other and eventually, a violent conflict broke out. Well, none other than Ludinus Da'leth helped mitigate and negotiate this conflict to a peace, and at the end of that, it culminated in the creation of the Cerberus Assembly, where spellcasters from both of these sides would come together to form a faction. Also, fun fact, they picked the name the Cerberus Assembly in reference to a previous group called the Cerberus Assembly from the Age of Arcanum. So given what we know about Ludinus now and his age, perhaps Ludinus was even part of the original Cerberus Assembly, and that's where he drew the name from. Speaking of Ludinus Da'leth, he actually did not join the Cerberus Assembly at its inception. After brokering this peace and building his influence, he actually went to Malaeismere, where he continued his own experiments until said experiments razed Malaeismere to the ground, at which point Ludinus returned to the Dwendalian Empire and joined the Cerberus Assembly then. However, even then, he was not the Martinet nor the leader of the assembly. He actually became the leader due to outliving everyone else, and of course, I'm sure other factors like his influence growing, but given what we know about him now and the harness, the whole outliving thing, makes a lot of sense. Now, in addition to Ludinus, some of the other notable names on the assembly that you'll probably recognize are Delilah Briarwood, Trent Ickathon, Vesteragna, and Astrid Beck. Now, this video is already going to be pretty long, so I'm not going to go in depth on every member and what they do. Maybe I'll make another video for that. Let me know if it's something you'd like to see. So what exactly do they do? What is the purview of the Cerberus Assembly within the Dwendalian Empire? Well, at this point, they're involved in virtually all aspects of governing, to the point where the king is sometimes viewed as a figurehead, and the assembly is the one pulling the strings from the background. But they are involved in spying on their enemies, protecting from foreign invaders, also dealing with foreign relations in general. They also supervise the Solstice Academy and the Halls of Erudition, and are also concerned with the discovery of powerful magical artifacts, specifically from the Age of Arcanum, which makes a lot of sense given what we know about Ludinus. All in all, the Cerberus Assembly is both feared and respected, and is viewed as a sort of checks and balances system within the Empire, between the monarchy and also factions like the Cobalt Soul, which is kind of the antithesis of the Cerberus Assembly. They are in a tenuous peace with one another, but both constantly try to prevent the other from gaining more power and influence.